You're listening to WTJU Charlottesville. For Arts this week, we chatted with Piano Whitman from the band VIRG. You can see VIRG at the Southern Cafe and Music Hall on Tuesday, July 30th. I asked Whitman to introduce her newest project, VIRG.
My name is Piano Whitman, and my project is called VIRG. I play synthesizers, so a lot of my music is, I guess people call it like synth pop, but it also has like darker elements to it. I don't think it necessarily fits in a box. I have a lot of pride in using analog gear and hardware synthesizers. So all of my music is made from scratch, I guess you would say. Like all the sounds I design myself, and I just go right through a DAW and record all of it there. And then I also have a lot of fun with the VR09 from Roland. I got it used at a music shop, and it's got an effects panel on it that has really become part of the VIRG sound. Lots of delay and lots of really nice deep tones in that. So this year, or I guess the end of last year, I started playing shows for my solo project. And this has been a project since like 2019, but I just started to take it more seriously this year. And at the end of last year, I formed a band, and we're an all synthesizer band, and we have a drummer as well. And VIRG kind of takes different forms. It just depends on the show and what I think would be best suited for the show in terms of who joins the live show. When it's just me, I'm like in a box of keyboards. For the Southern, I decided to have me and Max, my drummer, and it'll just be the two of us. Max and I met at a dive bar downtown in our hometown called King's, and a mutual friend of ours introduced us saying, "Hey, you guys should know each other. You're both musicians in this town." And then through Max, I met Daniel, who also plays synths in the band, who is Max's bandmate. They have a project called Pleasure Business, which if you don't know of, you should check out. It's so cool. And then I met Alex through another band I play in, and Alex plays bass keys. So we love music.
Whitman has been in many popular bands such as My Kid Brother and Oh He Dead. I asked her about what she took from those older projects into VIRG.
In My Kid Brother, we worked with a producer named Eric Palmquist, and we had a bunch of like writers sessions with him, and he ended up making our record as well. But he really had me take a step back and look at my writing process, because a lot of my writing was like, just because it made sense to me didn't mean it made sense to everyone else. So I learned a lot through My Kid Brother and with Eric on how I can change my lyricism, but still keep my creativity and what I want to say, but make it just a little more accessible. And I guess another thing is like stage presence through all the years of being in My Kid Brother, which is like a rock band. You got to go like hard in the paint, and I definitely take that still with me at my VIRG shows. And then in terms of like what's new, I guess would be the style of music. It's not like My Kid Brother. It's also not like Oh He Dead, which is another band I play in. It's kind of my own therapy.
What are your favorite and least favorite parts of performing live?
Okay, so least favorite is what's been a challenge for me this year, because like I said, we are an all synthesizer band with a live drummer. Sometimes we just have a drum machine, and most bands have a guitar and a bass player and amps on stage. And that has been my toughest adjustment, because stage volume is not the same. And getting that perfect mix is also pretty difficult with all the different ways that certain sounds are EQ'd in the keyboard, because just because it sounds good when I'm at home doesn't mean it's going to translate in a live setting. So that has been the most painful part of this process. And I don't think we've nailed it yet, but we're definitely working on it. And every time we play a show, we take notes and we improve on it. And then the best part is getting to sing my own songs and getting to sing what I want to say. It's been incredibly healing for me, because music has always been like a necessity for me, and having the ability to not just say what I feel like I need to say, but also doing that with my friends on stage has been truly beautiful experience. I think I would hope for all of us.
Whitman also spoke on the creation of her newest album called Weeks.
The process of that album, I started about 2 years prior, and I had all these demos, and I thought I was done. And about 3 weeks before I went in to track drums, because I record everything on my own, but I don't have a drum set or a drum mic. So I was like ready to go to the studio. And 3 weeks before, I wrote 3 or 4 songs that actually ended up being on the record and changed the total sound of the record. So yeah, I thought I had it done. It wasn't done. And that always happens to me. And I wrote most of it in the car. I love driving. I love the mountains, the trees. So I wrote like half of it in my car and half of it in my basement. I have been a Roland baby my whole life. So my first keyboard was a JX8P. And I still use the JX8P on my records, but I don't perform with it live because it's so old. I'm afraid to break it. I would say our live show as a band is definitely more rock forward. What has been the biggest process, the biggest change for the live show is finding out who's going to play what. And like, I may do bass or I may do a leading line. Daniel might take an arpeggio. There's just like all kinds of things that I didn't really consider that are as cut and dry when you're like, this is the guitarist and this is the bassist. So that has been the most interesting part. And I'm also a huge fan of shows that don't sound like the record. I like going to a show and experiencing something new. So we all in the band have definitely been doing that for the live show. So for example, my song Gray isn't going to be the exact same format as it is on the record than the live show. I would even say that part of the live show is better than the record. I think that the music industry is a very strange one, and a lot of men have been dominating that scene, and a lot of straight people have been dominating that scene as well. And I think it's such a beautiful thing that now queer people are getting a bigger platform, and women are getting a bigger platform. I think it's just time. I think people are want something new. And another thing that I'm noticing that's so cool is within the past couple of years, I'm recognizing a lot of 80s influence on some stuff. I feel like a couple of years ago, it was like very 70s. And I, as a synthesizer person, have really admired the amount of what sounds like vintage gear being brought back into the scene. And it's really cool to see women being at the front lines of all of that.
You can support VIRG on July 30th at the Southern Cafe and Music Hall. Find tickets online at thesouthernseaville.com.
Please come if you like 80s influence and you like synthesizers. Check it out. Come dance. Come shake your butt, you know? That's all I got to say about that.
Arts This Week is brought to you with support from the Piedmont Virginia Community College. PVCC Arts presents a rich array of dance, music, theater, and visual arts programming. Learn more at pvcc.edu. You're listening to WTJU.